Unfortunately for Liverpool fans, the dream signing of Kylian Mbappe or Erling Haaland may be a little bit too much like fantasy football, so today I'm going to look at 5 realistic Liverpool signings for this summer. First off, and there's Eduardo Camovinga, who is set to spark an absolute transfer battle for his signature because he is not signing a new contract with French club Rennes. He is a wonderful, wonderful player and such a special talent for such a young age. So much so that he was called up to the French national team, scored on his first full debut for the side, and was the youngest player to play for them in over 100 years. All of this, and he has decided not to sign a new contract with the club, meaning it will run out in 2022, so they were looking to get some money for him this summer. If you couple it with the fact that Liga has been hit by a lot more financial difficulty than expected during the COVID pandemic, Liverpool may be able to get him on quite a good deal. The reason I think that he could join Liverpool, and it's a little bit more realistic than moving to, I don't know, PSG or Real Madrid, for example, is that they've got a space for him in their team. At the moment, it still looks like Gini Wijnaldum will not be signing a new deal and will be leaving on a free in the summer, and this opens up a space on that left-hand side of that midfield three for Liverpool. Camavinga is a brilliant box-to-box player, has fantastic footwork and is left-footed as well, so would slot in excellently. The one downside to his game is that he doesn't necessarily contribute with too many goals or assists, but as such young player, Jurgen Klopp can coach that into him and he can grow and progress, and maybe he'll be able to add to that game in the upcoming years. Alongside this, Fabinho is definitely this deep-lying central midfielder. He is the defensive one, the one who breaks up the play and brings the ball forward. Thiago, if he is to be in this Liverpool team, work as a success. Personally, I believe that he'd also be good in Fabinho's position. Not necessarily as an attacker, but as a deep-line playmaker. And we all know that on the right-hand side of the midfield three is Jordan Henderson when he's fully fit. So Camavinga on this left-hand side would actually be a pretty good deal. As to whether or not he'll go, well, he is currently signed with the football agency that has the likes of Jack Grealish and Gareth Bale on their books, and his agent has said that he has got the capability to play in the Premier League next season. He just doesn't know whether or not he actually will. Maybe he could be what Liverpool fans will be missing when Gini Wijnaldum leaves, and what they hoped Naby Keita would have been when they signed him in the first place. Alongside this though, and if you think that Liverpool really need to sign a more attacking midfielder, and maybe that Camavinga is going to be a starter who doesn't bring too many goals, then Yves Bissouma could also be a very good deal, but yet again he might actually just prove to be more of a squad player. Despite this though, Bissouma can play in a range of positions in midfield, and this is why I think if they fail to sign Camavinga, or even if they do bring him in, Bissouma should still be near the top of their list. The Brighton midfielder, of course, coming from the Premier League, another Premier League team, means that he's gonna cost a fair amount of money, and he's got a couple of years left on his contract. Having said that, there should be no problem in attracting him to the club. For Brighton, they're sitting just above the relegation zone, not in too much danger, and Yves Bissouma is continuously proving himself to be one of their best players in midfield, both defensively and offensively. In the defensive areas, he's got more tackles and more interceptions per game than any Liverpool player this season, and going forward, he's got the third most amount of dribbles when you compare him to the Liverpool squad, behind only Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino, which puts him ahead of Mo Salah and Diogo Jota when it comes to the amount of dribbles per game. Bissouma really has got it all, and like Camavinga, even though he doesn't get too many goals and assists, he could be of real help to the Liverpool midfield as a whole. Talking of attacking players, we'll come to that in a little bit, because for now I believe there is a defensive addition that makes so much sense that Liverpool should just go ahead and pull the trigger, and that is to make the loan signing of Ozan Kabak a permanent one from Schalke. He hasn't exactly had the easiest starts to life in the Premier League, but let's not forget he's a young defender thrown into a very high pressure situation at Liverpool, and I think he's actually rode out the difficult times quite well and seems to be coming good in recent weeks. Alongside this, next season when Virgil Van Dyke is back fit, there probably isn't a better central defender to learn alongside than Virgil Van Dyke in world football. And for that reason, I think Kabak will come on leaps and bounds. I mean, statistically, he's got the third highest amount of clearances and tackles in the Liverpool squad, so he definitely knows how to get the ball away from the goal. But in all honesty, if you're going to sign a good centre-back who's fitting in already, because he's already alone at the club, who's got the ability to learn and clearly is fitting in quite well, and is going to be a fantastic centre-back for the future, all for such a low price, Liverpool just have to do it. 18 million euros is the amount that Schalke are asking for in this loan deal to bring him into the club permanently. If you add on the 1 million euro loan fee, you come to a grand total of 19 million euros. That, for all that I've just mentioned, is a really good deal. Even if it turns out horrendously and he goes on to become one of the worst centre-backs that we've ever seen, 90 million still really isn't that much. In comparison, you look at two other talked about young brilliant centre-backs in European football at the moment. There's Sven Botman, who currently plays at Lille, and apparently the club won't accept anything less than 39 million for his services. And on top of this, there's also Ajax young brilliant defender Per Schuurs. And if anyone wants to make a move for him, apparently the Dutch club are only willing to accept anything over 27 million euros. Could be a little bit more. So again, if you factor in that a Kabak's going to cost maximum 19, it seems like a pretty good deal. Next up then, and number 4, and for those of you that watch the Cycling GK, that is goalkeeper Ben Foster's YouTube channel, you'll know that he rates his teammate Ismail Assar very highly, in fact to the tune of £80 million. Seems a bit extreme, but Sarr is showing why he does have an abundance of talent. Now, of course, with Watford's impending return to the Premier League, there's no reason to think that he needs to leave to prove himself at the highest level. In fact, when Watford, as I say, more than likely, make their appearance in the Premier League next season, he will have yet another year to add to his reputation in England's top flight, like he was doing towards the end of the 1920 season when Watford were relegated. In fact, 12 months on, and since then, and that fantastic game against Liverpool where he ended their 44-match unbeaten run with a fantastic performance, he's done brilliant in the Championship and has really helped his side back to promotion. If you were to highlight his brilliant areas of play like his dribbling, his raw pace and his ability to finish, you would see him in a similar mould to the likes of Mo Salah and Sadio Mane. And the thing is, if he were to come off the bench or even replace him in the starting lineup, he is such a good fit. Better, I think, than the likes of Divock Origi and Xherdan Shaqiri. Or when they come on, they have moments, and I mean fleeting moments of good bits of play in a Liverpool shirt. But apart from that, the drop-off in quality is so big that Ismail Assar would actually fill this gap pretty well. Now, on top of all of this, I'm not quite sure I agree with Ben Foster's estimation of Ismail Assar costing £80 million, but Liverpool will have to pay a pretty penny if they are to sign him from the Hornets, especially given the fact that once they're back in the Premier League, they'll be able to get their hands on all the riches that comes with playing in the most expensive, lucrative division in world football. So lastly but not least, we come to number 5, and actually talking about players who could potentially replace Shaqiri and Origi, this one is more of replacing Divock Origi, and when the goals dry up for Roberto Firmino and the other front three at Liverpool, they definitely need a goal scorer, and that they have in the shape of Patson Daka. Now, of course, I say they have an eye on him. That is according to a lot of rumours, especially given that Daka's agent, former Spurs and West Ham striker and Sevilla striker, Freddie Canute, who is currently his agent, has said that it is time for something new for one of his clients. Obviously, the last time, by the way, Patson Daka playing at RB Salzburg, the last time Liverpool signed a player from Salzburg, in Takumi Minamino, it didn't exactly go as planned. He's a fantastic player, but they didn't exactly get the results they were expecting, and to be sent on loan to Southampton. On the flip side of this, the last time Salzburg sold one of their strikers to another team in Europe, it was Erling Haaland to Dortmund, and that has gone very well, to say the least. In fact, that Erling Haaland-shaped hole in the Salzburg team, has been filled by Patson Daka, who scored over 30 goals this season. So surely he's worth a punt. Apparently there is a release clause in his contract which could see him leave the club for around 17.5 million. Again, that's even less than Kabak deal. That is absolute peanuts to a team the size of Liverpool. And personally, I think this could be well worth a punt. He's a brilliant finisher, has excellent movement, and again, the young player under the likes of Jurgen Klopp could definitely improve, especially if they are to get rid of someone like Divock Origi. So there you have it, 5 potential transfers for Liverpool this summer. Which one of these do you think is the most realistic, and who else do you think should be on their transfer target list? Let me know in the comment section down below. Check out everything else we've got going on, and until next time, I will see you guys later.